On this episode, I talk with an amazing entrepreneur that's in her third business. She's a rock star. She talks about personal development of your employees, how to keep them. But most importantly, we talk about how to prove your value to your clients so you can actually charge more. I think all of us need to do that. We're always constantly wondering, how do we prove our value to our clients? Well, this is the episode for you, and it will prove your worth. Hey, Iris, welcome to the show.
Hi, Jason.
I'm excited to have you on. And so tell us who you are and what do you do?
Okay, so I'm the CEO of Oribi, and I'm a serial entrepreneur. This is my third startup. And for the other two companies, I've been leading the product and marketing. I love marketing, and I was always amazed on with how difficult it is to measure marketing, and that's why I started Oribi. We raised $27 million to date. Work with thousands of customers around the world, and we're doing marketing analytics, hopefully better than other tools.
Oh, it's awesome. Yeah, I definitely checked out the tool and it was very, very cool. But before we get into the tool, I wanted to ask you, because, a lot of agency owners, obviously everyone listening, we're hiring people. We're always hiring people. And I read a blog post that you had on your blog, and I was like, oh, that's interesting. And it was about like, tell us a little bit about, just giving people pizza and feeding them is not really what will keep them.
Yeah, I feel it's something that I found very, very ironic about this world is that we want to hire the best people, the smartest people, the most innovative people, and then we really treat them as small children. And you need to be very cautious with them, and you need to give them beer and pizza. And you want the smartest people, and they usually want to lead interesting innovations. They want to grow, they want to learn new things. And for some reason, most of the work environments are mostly about just pampering people and the employees. And I think something that we're really trying to do at Oribi is to focus more on the personal development and giving them more independence. And I think it's like the way I see my role as a manager is to really let people shine and to find their unique voice and to help them do it, rather than having like lots of Ben and Jerry's in the kitchen. So yeah, that's how I see it.
Yeah, for many years, I thought it was like, hey, we'll bring in lunch, like the Googles of the world, right? Like, and especially
Yeah,
that one movie of like the internship with Vince Vaughn and Owen Wilson, right? They're like, I can have 5 bananas, it's free, like, right?
yeah.
And I think that will draw in the wrong people sometimes. It won't keep them.
Yeah,
And
it also became like it's so standard. So it's not that you have like free pizza and ice cream and everybody will stay because of it. So yeah, I agree that like we have nice food over here, but this is not the main thing that we do. And I think that people are looking for something more personal and more deep.
yep. Let's talk about a little bit about personal development, right? Since we're on the
Hmm.
topic of making our, like keeping our
Yeah.
employees, right? Like we're attracting the right ones. How do you guys help out with personal development? Because I feel, when people come in, if you're just expecting them just to do their job, right? They're going to be like, okay, they're going to be excited for a little while. Like I remember when I sold my agency, I was very motivated to help out with the new company. And then when the dream squashers came in and started, squashing our dreams, I started getting demotivated. Like, and I was an A
Hmm.
player and I literally went to like an F player. I'm like, you better sell this company or I'm going to be the worst employee ever. And I find a lot of people are like that. So how are you able to help out, or what's some things that you can help out employees with on personal development?
Yeah. So that's a very interesting question. I think that like for me, the main thing that I benefit from being a certain entrepreneur and going through the roller coaster every day is that I feel that it really challenged me with learning new stuff all the time, inventing stuff, being creative. And I really feel that a huge part of my personal development is me being forced to learning sales and marketing and different types of marketing and managing and firing people. And I really wanted to give this experience to my employees. So instead of thinking of it only of a roller coaster, also as something that they can step up using this platform. And an interesting story is that when I started Oribi a few years ago, we actually had a budget for each employee for personal development. And I asked each one of them, what do you want to work on? Is it like writing, public speaking, learning how to design? And then I have a list of like 50 things that I want to learn. And I was amazed to see that like half of the employees knew what they want to work on, but the other half, they didn't have a clue. So they say, okay, so I'm a developer and I'm not interested in public speaking or writing or anything else. So something that I did learn is that most people don't really understand what they want to work on, but they do want the encouragement and the platform when something arrives to really go in depth to it. So something that has changed, we had this program and we saw that it didn't really work out well. And today it's more about working with employees on their personal challenges within the professional environment. What do they find challenging? How do they want to work on it? And sometimes we do help with them with some coaching, either internal or external. But the main thing is just about seeing like for me, it's about seeing the unique voice of each one of the employees and really try to encourage them to speak in this voice rather than being part of the company and being like within the same box.
Awesome. Great. Well, let's kind of change focus and let's talk about, because I know a lot of agencies, because I chat with them all day long, a lot of times they have a hard time showing their clients results. And I think
Yeah.
that's a big challenge. That's a big kind of if you look at it like a stoplight, that's a red light. It's
Yeah.
something that you really need to work on, because if you can't show your clients results, then they don't know the value, which means you're going to lose them. And you're just literally trying to hold on to them rather than going, this is what's working, this is not what's working. So talk to me a little bit about how did you come up with uh, the current company now of really making it very easy for agencies to see what's currently working? Like, when I was going through the tool and going through the funnel, I was like, that's pretty cool. Like I could literally go, hey, here's the starting page and here's the page I want them to get to. What's my percentage and all that. So talk a little bit about that.
Yeah. So yeah, I do agree this is like the main challenge. So today about 30% of our customers are agencies, and probably most of the other 70% of the customers are working with agencies. So we hear a lot from agencies that they're unable to communicate their amazing work to their customers. And we also hear a lot from customers of agencies that they don't trust the agency, they don't really understand what they're doing. And in my opinion, the main challenge is how deep can the agency go? Because something that happens a lot is, and I believe that both agencies they want to deliver the best results, but in many cases they really stay up the funnel. So they drive traffic or they drive signups, and they're sure they're doing like an amazing work, but the e-commerce shop or the company they don't see increase in sales. And the immediate result is distrust, and they don't understand what they're doing. And I think the key thing for both parties to work well together is to understand which results they're measuring. And in most cases, it will be the sales or qualified leads. And in most cases, it's not very easy to track it. So the main thing that we're doing at Oribi differently than other tools is creating a very simple solution for defining all the different events. So instead of using code, you can easily understand what is a qualified lead, how many people really requested the demo, how many of them paid later, how many of them churned, how many of them purchased which product, how many of them returned. And I think that once the agency can create a high level picture and can go into the entire funnel, the entire flow, understand all the different metrics, and the communication is much better. They can understand what's working and what doesn't. And like an example that I can give you is like 2 years ago, I was working with an agency and they manage my Facebook ads. And I've been on maternity leave, so I haven't viewed the result for like a month. And they told me it's doing amazingly well. They managed to reduce the cost by 50%. And then I entered the numbers and I saw that the signups are actually, the cost per signup is much lower, but hardly no one converts. And I saw that they use like ads of like kittens, everybody clicks, the sign up is very simple, but nobody really converted. And if they could have seen like the entire funnel easily to understand who's converting, who isn't, and compare it with other time periods, they would have been able to understand what they're doing wrong. So it's mostly about creating like a very solid ground for communication and for seeing all the important KPIs.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. It's, if I was an agency right now, a lot of times you need to test out the waters with your prospects. And a lot of times, and I remember this, and I see this all the time, I would take on the wrong clients. And, I'd be like, the client would tell me one thing. They'd be like, oh, we're driving, this much traffic and we're converting at this, like if we can get them to this page, they're going to, convert. And if it was me, what I would do now, and I guess you can sort of do it through Google Tag Manager, but that's very, it's kind of like you have to be a mad scientist, I feel like, to make that work.
Yeah.
Like, I don't understand. I'm like, like I throw up my hands, but I haven't been in the weeds in a while. But like, if you could set up the tracking and the measuring ahead of time, and you do like a test project with the client, like don't even do anything other than just set up analytic tracking and a dashboard, and then go back to them and go, here's our recommendation based on the past 30 days. Then I think you could blow your competition out of the water. You both, you probably have a lot happier clients because you're only taking on the right ones rather than taking on the living, breathing ones for now, right? They'll be dead later.
Yeah, definitely. So yeah, I agree that like setting up the goals, the mutual goals is super important, and how to measure them. And another thing that I feel that is doing lots of injustice for both parties is attribution, and which becoming much more challenging from one year to another. And then in many cases, like the agency thinks they're doing an amazing work, hardly any conversions. The agency says that, okay, everybody were exposed to your brand from Facebook ads, and then they both letter via direct. And the company sees that there aren't any conversions coming from Facebook ads. Over here as well, I think that I think many companies or agencies, they try to really like try to attribute every single conversion. It's really, really hard today. So, and when you're facing the numbers coming from Facebook and Google, it's becoming even more challenging. So it's more about understanding the trends. And if you're doing like a massive change, even if you can't attribute everything, you can see how it impacted. And if you're working with different channels, you can understand the correlation between them.
Yeah. Tell me a little bit more about like when someone can dive deeper, into the analytics, like what, it amazes me too, or maybe it's just because it's been a complex up until this point with really kind of diving into the analytics. Like, why do you feel that more agencies don't really dive into that to really understand it, to deliver the best value? Because I truly believe that people want to deliver their best stuff, but sometimes they don't.
Yeah, I think it's mainly because it's a lot of work, and as I told you before, like The main goal for me with Oribi is to help companies answer the very trivial questions in a simple way. It always amazes me that I try to answer questions like where do my best customers come from, and how each campaign is really doing. So these are like exactly the same question that every company asks. And today it's still lots of work. So you need developers and to define events. And every time you change the website, you need to change it and to maintain it. And so I think that today it's mostly about that the process is pretty complex. You need developers. It takes time. And I don't believe it's because people don't want to see the full picture or that people don't want to be data driven. I think that today something that we really see is that even marketers that are not really into numbers and they love writing content and be more on the creative side, they really want to understand what is the impact of their work and to measure it and to understand what to do more of.
Yeah. So tell us a little bit more about Oribi of why people need to check this tool out, because I checked it out. It was really pretty amazing. I was like, oh, I didn't know I needed to change this and that, and it gave me some insights that wasn't available to me before.
Yeah. So today, I guess that most of the listeners are using Google Analytics, and it always fascinated me that there's like Google Analytics, which rules the market, and there are other like very high-end tools that are very, very expensive, require a lot of integrations, and you can find some tools that are more around like heat maps or just like landing pages, but there isn't like a good solution for marketing analytics. And what we do at Oribi is creating marketing analytics that doesn't require developers, so you can define all the events without using code. You can do it yourself. You can get to more interesting events, so you can create different groups and different rules. And then you can easily create funnels and correlations and to analyze user behavior. And to do everything yourself, it's very simple. And also to export this data to Facebook ads or to Google ads and to email automation. So you can create better audiences. And yeah, our main goal is to really give the power to the marketing team. And today they're very dependent on developers. If you're part of a small company, you usually don't have developers. If you're part of a larger company, usually you need to wait like 2 months until they have time to add a new event or change something. And I think for me, like the inspiration or companies like Shopify, for example, where you can build your own e-commerce store, you can change it, and to do the same for analytics.
That's awesome. Well, is there a special offer that you have for our audience listening in if they want to check you guys out, which I highly recommend everyone go do?
Yeah, definitely. So you can enter oribi.io, sign up for the free trial, and the installation is super simple. If you're using like WordPress or Shopify, it's just a plugin. If not, you can add a script, you can enjoy a free trial. And when you decide to purchase Oribi, you can enjoy 20% off discount for the first 3 months. Just write us on chat or email that you arrived via this podcast, and we'll be happy to provide this discount.
Awesome. Well, great. Well, everyone go check that out. Iris, is there anything I did not ask you that you think would benefit the audience?
Let me think about it. I would say that something that I find pretty amazing is that most people will put tons of time in creating like the best content and videos and a stunning website, and will hardly measure it. So I think there's much to do with like funnel optimization and website optimization. And let's say, for example, that you invest a lot in writing content for SEO and getting direct traffic, and you probably can find out that with 2 weeks of changing the website, making some A/B tests, changing the messaging, the call to action, you'll be able to increase the conversion rate by 30%, by 50%. So I would say that most people, they're really into the content itself and the efforts themselves and don't put enough time in optimizing the funnel and the conversion. And so there are lots of low-hanging fruits over there, and lots of opportunities to get to great results.
Awesome. Well, Iris, thanks so much for coming on the show. And everybody listening, if you guys want to check out Orbi, go to oribi.io and check it out, do the free trial. And then if you guys want to take it on even more, make sure you reach out to them and say, hey, I heard of you guys from the Smart Agency Masterclass, and they'll give you 20% off for the first 3 months. And until next time, have a swank day. Thanks, Iris.